Hello, welcome to the Ask Barry V Show. I'm Barry Vanover. This is Miles Baker. This week we have a special edition. We're coming to you live from the TNC Traffic and Trade Conference put on by Digital Marketer. We're here. Me and Mr. Baker have been doing different conferences, different meetings for the past 2 days. We found an opportunity to film the Ask Barry V Show here. So that's what we're doing. So we don't want you guys to miss out on any great information. So let's go ahead, Mr. Baker, and let's get started. But real quick, before we do, our broadcast today is sponsored by Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting company, and they do a great job. So any of you would-be podcasters out there, check out buzzsprout.com for any of your podcasting needs.
Very cool. All right, let's get into the questions. First question for this week. Sharon Ard asked, how selective are you in the students you enroll at your schools?
I'm guessing Sharon's talking about, problem kids coming into an intro. At what point, or maybe she's talking about physical challenges.
Yeah, maybe. Or aggressive people, perhaps.
So, the general rule for us is you got to understand what business we're in and how we make money. We make money teaching martial arts lessons to a large number of people. And yes, our job is to empower children and families and adult students' lives through martial arts, develop fitness and focus and perseverance, and teach them all those personal development things. But the key is that we're in the job of teaching that in mass group classes to as many people as we can fit on the classroom floor as possible. So, the general rule is anytime a student comes in that can't fit into our normal business model, our normal classes, they're not the right, not only are they not the right student for us, but we're not the right martial arts school for them. Anybody that needs a lot of one-on-one attention, whether it's one-on-one attention from correcting behavior or it's one-on-one attention from a physical ability that they have or a physical disability that they have, rather, we're just not set up for that. And we don't want to take their money and do them an injustice. So we have to know our limitations as well. So, if a student's either behavior or physical limitations can't be dealt with or taught in a regular martial arts class, we are not the martial arts school for them. So you have to remember that. If you're hungry for the money and you're just trying to sign up a kid that can't do the curriculum physically, or they've got extreme disorders or mental disorders or behavior disorders, and it's going to disrupt your class, it's going to cause, they're never going to be successful in your school and they're going to quit anyway. 2, they're actually going to have cost you money, and parents not giving the time and attention to the rest of the parents and the rest of the students, the rest of the families, and you're going to lose students over it. We had this situation at our school in Knoxville. A little boy had Tourette's, and Tourette's is not just screaming out bad words. His Tourette thing was he would just yell out what time it was. At any given time in class, he would just be like, Mr. Vaughn, it's 10 after 6, it's 10 after 6, right? And we dealt with that for a long time, and we actually helped that child, but that was within our capabilities to help him focus, right? And our job is to help these kids. People bring kids to our school. They're not bringing the rock star kids all the time, the natural athletes. They're bringing kids that need our help. So I'm not saying that we don't help those people, but we're talking about, to Sharon here, we're talking about extreme situations that are out of our control, and we can't, and it's going to disrupt our class. Now, same thing now we can take this to another level of what about you sign up a kid and you're not sure and you find out they have this problem or they have a disruptive behavior or disruptive physical ability. Then do you get rid of the student? And again, if they're disrupting your class and you can't run the class at the high level of performance that it needs to be for the majority of your paying people, then yeah, you probably need to let that student go. So that's my theory and answer on that one.
Very nice. So if you have the time and the tools and the patience, then go for it. Most busy schools just don't have that.
Don't go after the money and sign up everybody that walks in, no matter and not have any thought of how that student's behavior or physical limitation is going to affect the rest of the students and affect your normal exciting classes.
Sure. Second question for this week comes from Jim S. Jim S. asked, in the follow-up from last week's question about the use of memberships, to what links do you enforce your membership agreements?
So that question last week must have resonated with Jim, because we talked about how important that you contractually obligate your students to memberships, because it's so important to the overall finances of your school and frankly the net worth of your business. So now Jim's asking, I guess, let's say a student stops paying us, right? At what links are we going to enforce that agreement? This is one of those things that is real personal to each owner. You have to have your own philosophy of what you're doing. But let's get a couple things straight. One, when someone buys something, they buy a membership from you. The reason they're making monthly payments is because they financed it. They still bought that from you. If you buy a car and you stop driving it, because you financed it, you still have to make those monthly payments. Right? You buy that TV and it falls off the wall and crashes into the floor and you don't have a warranty, you're still going to be making those monthly payments whether you can watch it or not. It's the same thing. If you go to university and you take a semester of classes, after a certain cutoff date, whether you go to classes or not, you got to pay for it, right? So it's the same concept. They bought a product, 6-month, 12-month, 36-month term membership. Just because they stopped coming doesn't mean they don't have to pay for it. And who's at fault? It's not our fault. We're there. We're paying our bills. We're working hard. We're teaching awesome classes. We're paying our staff. We have expenses like everybody else. So that's it's not a gym membership. This is a martial arts studio, right? So this is a highly specialized skill that we're teaching, and we have to look at it like that. Don't think that it's our fault if we enforce an agreement. Now, to what extent that you enforce an agreement? Also keep in mind the psychology. If you're going to turn someone into collections and they start getting a lot of the nasty letters, which will make them pay. Nobody wants their credit hurt in 2016. It's too important. So most people are going to pay anyway. These are a rare few. And you start sending them collection letters, whether you plan on taking them to court for the money or not, they still aren't going to like your school. They're still never going to say anything good about you. So why wouldn't you take it all the way to court and get your money? Now, that said, I've never taken a family to court, small claims court, to collect monies from a membership. But I will tell you that we do turn them into collections company and let the collections company do their job and collect the money, right? But I'm not going to probably take them to court. That's because I don't want to go to court myself. I don't want to pay an attorney myself. I don't want to go through that type of hassle. I don't have time. But I will let a collections company do their job. So,
good answer. Third question for this week. Kenji asks, what tips can you give to help us sell more merchandise?
Well, merchandise is so important part of the 5 income generators of a martial arts school. Very first thing is you should have equipment packages designed for every program. If you have a basic program, you've got an equipment package that you sell the day you sign them up. If you upgrade a student to black belt training or premier training or elite or the 3rd level or 4th level upgrade program, there should be an equipment package that's designed for every program. Listen, you go out and start a new sport. I don't care what sport it is, dirt bike riding, golfing, swim, whatever sport you are in, there is equipment that goes along with that sport. Matter of fact, that's the fun part, is going and getting to be part of that culture. If you take up skateboarding, you take up any activity, you want to buy the equipment. That's part of the excitement, and it defeats customer remorse. Imagine a kid and family coming in and paying in full $1,500 for a 6-month membership, and they walk out of there with a white gi, and that's it. What fun is that for the kid? What fun is that for the family? So form equipment packages and train your staff to sell them as they're signing the student up. Now, I've been advertising our program directors training that is next week, right? Yep. Starts the 18th. Yep. We're going to be teaching all the program directors how to sell merchandise as they sign people up and as they upgrade people. So there's one tip. Second thing is the checklist. When a student signs up, they should sign off and initial certain items that you go through, like closings and test fee and anything that you want the student to know about that may be uncomfortable or that you want to make sure they know. You go through a checklist and have them initial that you went over it with them. Like in our belt testing fees, every 3 months is going to be $40. Initial that you understand that, so they don't come back at belt test fee time and complain, right? We're going to be closed on occasional weekends for tournaments and instructor training. Sign off on that, and so on. And one of those would be, today we offered you a basic equipment package at a discount. And you declined it, so you will be paying normal price when you purchase it in the future. Have them initial that, because we do give them a discount if they sign it, buy it the day they sign up, but 2 weeks later they're going to pay full price for it. So we also mentioned in the checklist that all merchandise has to be purchased. Any merchandise used on the classroom floor has to be purchased from our studio. Okay. What would be another one, Mr. Baker? Think of another one that would help this guy?
Insurance.
Oh yeah,
Insurance.
if let's say you have a kid gets online or a family gets online and they buy their sparring gear from soandso.com and they're walking in with red sparring gear, right, from a different company that you use. They didn't buy it from your school. It's totally okay to go to that family. I'm like saying, sorry, you guys, you can't use that here. All the merchandise that we use at our school has been certified and is covered under our insurance company, and they require that we use our gear. Now, that may very well be great headgear you have there, but the problem is it's not certified by our insurance company, and you can't use it. And then you go back and you pull your checklist where you reminded them about that months ago. So that's another great way. Because, even if you sell gear at your school, if you let people buy gear from outside and bring in, they're going to look at online for the cheapest gear, the cheapest weapon. They're going to be going to, some people I heard go to garage sales and buy martial arts gear from around town and bring into the school. You can't let them do that. Plus, it hurts your branding. If you've got a martial arts school like we're Premier Martial Arts, everything we have has our logo on it. You want to keep that branding and nice look in your school. So just the fact that you brand everything will help you sell the gear, right? So, going to the links like Premier has where everything has our logo on it becomes culture, and people don't want to buy anything else but that. So there's some quick tips to help sell some gear.
Yeah, I think the checklist is the biggest one. That pretty much solves everything.
Yeah. Oh, and also what Premier does really well is we do seasonal apparel, T-shirts and hoodies and so forth, and we do group orders on it. So we'll create the products, we'll make posters and flyers, we'll disseminate those to their students, give them 2 weeks to purchase it, and then we place a mass order. So you don't have to invest a lot of inventory in a new T-shirt design or new apparel designs, and we sell a lot of gear that way as well.
The last thing I would add is enforcement of the staff. I mean, if your instructor's on the floor and somebody comes in with a different set of gloves, they have to step up and speak. I've noticed that sometimes staff is a little passive. They're not quite sure how to address the situation. So if you train the staff on how to address it in a tactful way,
right.
Because people did just spend their money on
right.
something online or at Dick's Sporting Goods, but I think that's on the tail end. But if it starts with the checklist, that pretty much is going to clear it up.
Awesome.
For sure.
Uh-huh. Do you feel like we're whispering or something?
I do. There's a lot of people here. It's
Yeah.
been a great 3
We're inside this booth.
This is the third day of the Traffic and Conversion Summit. So I wanted to ask, we've talked about a lot of things. We've heard a lot of things since we've been here. What are some couple of things that maybe you found shocking, interesting?
Man, there's so much
Right.
information,
Sure.
because we're here trying to bring a lot of the digital marketing, the online marketing, the email marketing, the social media marketing, the best information back to our clients and back to our Premier Martial Arts schools. And we actually have made a really good relationship with an organization that they have done the social media and digital online marketing for some huge companies like LegalZoom.com and HubSpot and some of these companies. So we've got a merger with them where they're going to be helping design all of this for our clients. So we're super, super excited, and it's just been a great event. But some of the things that maybe owners might find interesting that I saw through the owner's eyes would be Google, which is basically the internet, and Google Analytics, and the president of Google was talking about that of all the purchases that happen with a person in a family, that only 6% of their overall purchases come online, which is kind of amazing, 6%. So what does that tell us? That's, if you're expecting a large number of people to go to your website and sign up, even your 2-lesson trial program or your 6 weeks for $69 or sign up for regular classes on the internet, only 6% of the people are going to do that, if that's correct. So that was kind of an amazing statistic as well, I thought. And then another one was that 91% of people, or for the average individual, 91% of their discretionary income is spent within 5 miles of their martial arts, 5 miles of their home. So people are only spending that extra money. That discretionary income is the income we're going for as a martial arts studio. That's the money we're getting. And people are spending 91% of it within 5 miles, which means everything about location for your martial arts studio. If you think you're pulling people from 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 miles away to your school, you're not. People are only spending that and looking for discretionary ways of spending money and activities within 5 miles, which we know that. We say 3 to 5 miles radius is your real market. So I thought that was a great way to confirm what we've been telling our clients as well.
Very cool. I'm excited for what the rest of the day has to offer.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to give out a shout out and victory. We want to start adding this to the show, and I want to do a shout out victory to Joe Fitchbach. Mr. Fitchbach I've known for years. He's been in the martial arts industry for 25 years. He's owned his own schools. He's worked in every position in a martial arts school. And last year he bought a struggling martial arts school in Raynham, Massachusetts. He called me. He wanted to make it a premier martial arts studio, so he signed up with us. And in a year, literally a year, he has taken that school and just transformed it. It's a 300-student school, upwards of $50,000 a month income at that studio. He's trained an extremely amazing, young, awesome staff. And he's getting ready to open up his second location. You know, when you see what somebody does, they take the systems that are in place and they put the knowledge, the energy, the work ethic, and the focus behind it. It's just amazing what people can do, and we're seeing that happen over and over and over. So we wanted to add that to our show and give Joe Fitchbach, Raynham, Massachusetts Premier Martial Arts, a victory and a shout out.
All right, that's all the questions for this week.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much.